With Mother's Day here, this week's show is all about our extended family. Mothers, children, neighbours, our whole community. Welcome to the Gardening Australia family. On the show this week, we get to meet Josh's mum and her beautiful indoor-outdoor garden.
Well, when you were a little boy, you were always interested in, I thought you'd either be a vet or an environmental scientist.
I meet up with Sophie and her family at their home in the Adelaide Hills.
Aren't they beautiful?
Oh.
They're very gorgeous creatures, and if you get little ones, they bond to you, so you become their mummy. So the first person they spend time with becomes their mummy.
And Tino's busy with maintenance and planting in the veggie patch. It's been about 6 weeks since the On the Verge community garden project began, and look at it, it's thriving. Today, I'm going to show you how it's progressing, but what's really exciting is that we're starting to inspire others. I'm off down to the end of the street where I'm going to help with the creation of our first satellite verge, and I can't wait. The verge we'll be working on is actually shared by 2 families living in neighbouring townhouses. Ellis and Mimi have 3 girls who've been desperately trying to grow stuff in their small courtyard with very little success because it's too shady. Ellis and Mimi's neighbours, Iona, Duncan and their 2 girls, also have a shaded garden and they're itching to get growing too. Well, here we are at the site of our first satellite verge. Now, there's 3 things we need to consider when looking at a new site like this. First of all, the aspect. We're facing due west. So from a sun point of view, we get it from about 11 o'clock and this wall will heat up and create a nice microclimate. Water, what's happening to the water? At the moment, straight down the path and scouring all the topsoil off as it heads towards the gutter. So our no-dig will raise this and prevent that from happening. Finally, desire lines. Where do people want to walk? Straight through the verge. To change that, we'll put a hedge through here to direct the pedestrians and the dogs out onto the road and to the footpath on the other side. So here's the plan the council's approved. Some native plantings on the borders, passion fruit on the west-facing wall, and the central area for veggies and herbs. Another thing the kids asked for was a lolly tree and a money tree. We'll have to see how we go with those. Just like my verge, we're dealing with some really sandy soil here. So it's time for another no-dig solution, which you've seen us do before. This is our sponge. This will hold all the water for the plants. Look at this, a new supply. Yum. Head to the website for my full step-by-step recipe. In order to prevent our pedestrian and pet traffic from cutting straight across our new verge garden, I've gone with a couple of hedging options. The first one is this beautiful native called Ostromertus dulcis, which not only grows into a low hedge, but it'll give the kids a lovely berry to chew on in season. Down this end, closer to the driveway where the families walk in and out, I've gone with a mix, bush basil and lemongrass. Every time they brush against it, beautiful aromas. Good watering area. Okay, now who said they wanted a lolly tree?
Me.
Guess what? I've found it. Try this and tell me what you think. Try this leaf. How's it taste?
It's really sweet.
Now, this lolly tree is actually called a stevia or sweet leaf, and that's going to go in right there. All right? So start with the salad greens, then do the herbs, and then put the strawberries up the back near the passion fruit, all right?
Okay.
Mimi and Iona are helping me plant some seasonal veggies here in the new verge. We're going with carrots, some snow peas, a little bit of rocket, and finally some oregano in amongst the lemongrass. It's always a good idea to lay out all your pots before planting to make sure you're 100% happy with the overall big picture. We all worked on into the afternoon, and by the end of the day, it looked great. Now, it's Tino's turn.
The part of the hops used for making beer are the flowers, and when they finish flowering, it signals the time to get the garden ready for the coldest months. So today, I'm going to prepare some beds for some winter planting and do a little bit of pruning. These apples have been espaliered, which is a great way of training your trees to save space in your garden. But I need to control this rampant growth to get the trees back to their espaliered form by taking all the growth going sideways, up through the tree and a bit off the top. When you're pruning, you need to remove any crossing branches. That's one like this that's growing back up through the arms. So that can come off all the way down there. But when you're pruning, watch out that you don't remove the fruiting spurs. That's these fat, gnarled areas where your fruit's gonna form next season. There's one there. There's two more, one either side. But the beautiful thing about espaliering is the fruit is very easy to pick, but also the tree is very easy to spray. This is lime sulphur. I'm using a weak mix of a tablespoon to a litre of water, which will protect the tree from fungal disease. Well, I'm beaten. A shower's come through and you never spray in the rain. It just washes it off. So I'm gonna have to come back later and finish the job. But if you are spraying lime sulphur at home, concentrate on the nooks and crannies of the tree and the fresh cuts you've made, and you should be right. The thing about wet weather is it promotes fungal disease, like this powdery mildew on these cucurbits. That's things like zucchini and pumpkins. So now's a good time to pick off any ripened fruit and pull the whole plant out. I'm going to throw these pumpkin plants straight into the compost bin because when it comes to powdery mildew, you don't have to worry about perpetuating the problem. It's going to get into your garden no matter what you do. This is a fungal problem that's a little bit more serious than powdery mildew. It's called early blight. It can be identified by black dots on the fruit as well as the leaves. And it affects members of the Solanaceae family. That's potatoes, capsicum, and in this case, tomatoes. And as the name suggests, early blight, it attacks early varieties and then goes through the rest of your crop like wildfire. To control it, plant later varieties next year, and of course, rotate your crops to different beds, as it is a soil-borne fungus. Because of the early blight, I won't be composting these plants. They're destined for the green waste bin, but not just yet. Hang your plants up in a cool, dry place, and what you'll find is small fruit like this you should remove, but these larger fruit, you'll find these will ripen quite nicely, giving you extra value from your crop. Well, I'll be back later in the show to do a little bit of winter planting.
Our Verge veggie patch is coming along really nicely now. Take a look at these leafy greens. We've got a huge variety of lettuce here, endive over there, the chicory here is standing up, and our dandelion is spreading its tentacles. The whole place is just booming. Well, it's a slightly different story down at this end of the Verge. The potatoes Tino gave me, of the 14 or so, only 5 have popped their heads up, so I won't be feeding everyone mashed potato tomorrow night. Beans, look at that. I can see 1 bean. Our beans haven't been successful, but that's a good opportunity to think about why they weren't successful and to work out how we can do it better next time. Now, I've got a little bit of maintenance to do around here, so while I'm doing that, it's a good opportunity to have a look at what you can be planting in your part of the country. This week in temperate areas, it's time to plant your cos lettuces, your Jerusalem artichokes and the tasty salsify. In the subtropics, it's time for things like turnips, swedes, parsley, and why don't you give one of the choys a try, pack or bok. In arid areas, it's asparagus time, as well as silver beet, and why don't you give Florence fennel a go. For all these ideas and more, go to the Gardening Australia website. And now for something special. We're going to get a glimpse into Josh's past to see who it was that inspired him to become the gardener he is today.
You're about to enter a secret place, hidden away in the heart of Fremantle, and meet someone who's always been special in my life. Hi, Ma.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, how you
Just
doing?
phoning you. Hi, I'm well.
See you. Mwah. Place looking great, as always.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Well, actually.
My mum's name is Ros. For the past 16 years, she and my stepfather Ian, an artist, have lived in this extraordinary space they call home.
I loved it. It was like playing cubbies. I'd come from a cute little villa in Leaderville, and it was kind of boxed in, and to my horror, Ian felt it was like a project home. So when I came down here and lived down here with an absence of walls, it was so liberating. So the front door and the wall around the outside was actually the entrance to the home.
But is it a house or an art gallery? Is it a garden inspired by Asia? One thing flows into another, the boundaries are blurred. The place always feels balanced and the plants feel in the right spot and they're chosen for texture and form and colour with the bougainvillea.
Apart from the absolute beauty
Yeah.
and the colour, it's a wonderful deterrent for anybody who thinks they might hop over our fence for a
And
start.
have a peek at you in
because-
your outdoor shower.
Have a peek at me in the outdoor shower. And the thorns are about this big.
Yes.
But it's about beauty, it's about privacy and colour, of course. There's also a touch of Singapore in all of this because Ian is a son of Singapore and Malaysia.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Jesus Christo.
Look at this. It just reflects who I am because I just can't stand still. I have to keep moving all the time, and I work very quickly as well with my painting. So I treat my courtyard as my garden, the way I live, as an art form. It all has to combine, has to be a reflection of who we are.
Well, when you were a little boy, I thought you'd either be a vet or an environmental scientist because you had an interest in creatures and living things. What amused me was when you were 18 as an undergraduate and you were invited to someone's birthday party, the mothers used to just adore you because you would come with a $2 wicker basket filled with home produce. Do you remember?
Yeah.
But I have to say, your plum jam was bloody awful.
Hey, you gotta learn.
But you know,
But the plums were good.
I tell you, but as a
work on the cooking.
present,
Yeah.
it was just such a fabulous. And the mothers would go, "Oh, it's just so amazing."
There are so many things that make this garden special. So if you like what you see, here are 5 clever yet very simple design tips to take home. Number 1, the use of feature walls, like here with colour, or over here, the use of stone, limestone walls built by Ian. Number 2, an old favourite, the use of mirrors to create a sense of depth and space. Number 3, window views, which look out onto either plants or, in this case, sculpture. Number 4 is another classic, a water feature for sound and to cool the space. And number 5, which is also the most recent addition to the garden, is this arrival courtyard, which has given a once long and boring battle axe driveway a much more welcoming feel. And it also separates the outside world from the inner sanctum.
You certainly didn't get your green thumb from me, and my garden bed with all the best of intentions. And I have to say, I mean, that is a gift from you 4 years ago. Thank you very much.
Oh dear, I can't believe I brought
4
this up.
Christmases ago.
Yeah, and look at it.
And then it took 2 Christmases before, 2
finally put it
birthdays
together.
before you actually put it together.
Look, I've got a confession to make. I bought Mum a raised veggie bed for herbs and picking greens 4 Christmases ago, and I promised to set it up. It took me 2 years to put it together, and then...
And then you abandoned it.
And I took off again. I was slightly busy with another garden around the corner. So Mum had a crack and filled it full of soil, and it hasn't quite worked. So I do have a special surprise. For Mother's Day, 4 years later, I'm going to fix it up for you. I made that promise on national television, OK? Well, there's a taste of a very special garden. A place that is central to the lifestyle of my mum and Ian, and a constant source of inspiration for me.
What a fantastic space. You can read more about their garden in this month's Gardening Australia magazine. Now, I have a very special guest waterer here with me on the Verge. This is my dad, Stan. What do you think of the veggies, Bear?
Fantastic. They're literally jumping out of the ground.
Well, thanks for all your help here. Keep up the great work. See ya. Now, for me, family doesn't only mean relatives, it means community. And this herb maze is a great example of this. While it's still got a lot of growing to do, people are starting to use the herbs and the connection to community that the Verge now brings. Well, now we're off to Adelaide, where I met up with Sophie and her great family team to check out her developing garden. Any talk of Adelaide invariably leads you to the Adelaide Hills. Now, this is my first time here, and today I've come to visit Sophie and her team on their property. I can't wait to get in and have a look at the ever-expanding garden and to give them a hand in their veggie patch.
Welcome, Costa. It's so good to meet you.
It's good to meet you too. I feel like I know you from the telly. Mwah. What a house. Your gingerbread cottage. I saw it as I walked up the drive.
Isn't it awesome?
And it's just beautiful. I kind of want to go over and take a chunk out of it.
Oh, it's just beautiful. And we've been so lucky. We've been renting here for about 4 years and we've just managed to buy it. And we've only been renting just a small yard, and now we've got about a hectare.
So that's all yours? Orchard?
Yep.
Rolling hills?
Absolutely. And that view is spectacular. We love it. We love it. But there's so many things we want to do. Because it was rented, they put huge areas of paving. This is the north side. We cook. No trees.
Bounce
Absolutely.
straight into the house.
So the paving's all going to come up, but we're doing it, you know, I'm having to curb my instinct and do it in manageable chunks. But this is one of the things. This was our school holiday project. Meet Luscious, our dragon.
Well, Saint Georgiatus. You know, I was coming to find my dragon, and here he is, all the way to Adelaide, and I found him.
Isn't she beautiful?
She's great, and here's the saint. I'm like, woo.
Believe it or not, this was made out of junk, old rocks, broken bricks, and a heap of concrete. Isn't she gorgeous? Well, the kids love it because they run along her back, and eventually this will be a circular driveway, so we pulled up the pavers, and I'm excited about this too, Costa, because this is a new lawn that no one's growing in Adelaide, and we're trialling it. It's Zoysia macrantha, one called Nara, and it looks really good because we are really harsh here. Windy 24/7, everything dries out. We're in the Adelaide Hills, but we're really the same rainfall as Adelaide.
Really? Yeah.
And totally exposed. It's all happening.
It is going off here. This is the orchard.
It is. Want to come and check it out?
I'd like to have a look. So, Sophie, what's been your thinking and your actions behind setting up this orchard here?
Well, Costa, as you know, we've got a tribe of kids and we're going to need to feed them, and we love fruit and fresh produce. So what we've set up here is 110 different fruit trees that should give us fruit for the whole 12 months of the year. We do have a cellar too, so we can store stuff. So we've got 16 different peaches and nectarines. We've got almonds, apricots, pears, all sorts.
How you going, team? Who are you? Bo. Sophie and her husband share this beautiful place with their 5 children, Toby, Rowan, Bo, twins Violet and Rose, and a whole heap of 2-legged friends.
Very gorgeous creatures, and if you get little ones, they bond to you, so you become their mummy. So the first person they spend time with becomes their mummy.
Oh, so this is called Quokka. She's very calm. What's this one called? Oh, you don't have a name for it. How are the chickens fitting into your master plan here?
Well, the master plan is that the orchard will all be fenced and it will keep the chickens in, and the chickens will be let out every day and they'll free range and they'll eat all the bugs, right? Because we have a big problem with cherry slug, which you can see has affected our pears, plums, and even the cherry trees. And they'll eat the larval stage, so we'll actually keep that under control. So we're hoping with the chooks and the ducks, which will eat snails and stuff, we should have no pest problems.
Visiting gardens is one thing, contributing to them is another. Sophie's setting up a new vegetable patch here, and she's got the team, plus Ruby and the chickens, a trolley full of veggies, and we're going to get started on her new veggie patch.
Now, to be honest, Costa, this veggie garden's not really ready to plant, but we were so excited that you were coming that we're going to try and fast forward the process. We've done heaps of sheet mulching and we put aged compost and aged manure and this thick layer of straw. It probably needed to break down a bit longer, but in the interim we thought if we just use a little pot of soil around these seedlings,
this is exactly what we did in the Verge.
We saw that. We thought you'd approve.
So do you know what day it is on Sunday?
Yeah. Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Oh, she's not around. What are you going to do for Mum on Mother's Day?
Probably a drawing.
A drawing? What of?
I don't really know.
You're going to think about it?
Yeah.
Maybe the veggie garden, looking out over the gully there. Yeah. The house in the background. It's easy to see that you've got a real vision for this place.
We do, we love it. It's our own patch of dirt where we can put down roots and grow for the next period of our lives, but we love it.
It's been great to spend some time with Sophie and the kids, hard at work and having fun here in their garden. But now it's over to Tino, who's hard at work in the patch.
Soon I'll be planting members of the onion family, but now I'm going to get some brassicas in. This bed had a green manure crop in it that I dug through about 2 weeks ago. And at the same time, I added some lime. But these crops are very hungry and they like a lot of nitrogen. So I'm adding half a barrel load of mixed manure and then later, just a touch of blood and bone. I'm just making some furrows to plant my first brassica crop, daikon radishes. Like any radishes, I find daikon grow better from seed, but these are big radishes, so they need plenty of space. I give them 40 to 50 centimetres between the rows and then about the same between each plant. I'm planting 2 seeds per hole, just under the surface. And because their roots get so big, up to 30 to 40 centimetres, I'm planting them within the furrow because they always stand proud of the ground. So as they grow, I can backfill, covering their tops. Now to more conventional brassica crops, red and green cabbages and broccoli. Rather than digging holes to plant, I make straight furrows and then fill the soil in around the plant roots. I plant cabbages with at least 40 centimetres gap between plants and each row. That's it for the red cabbages. Now to the green ones. If your seedlings are a little bit big like these ones, there's no use planting them at the level they are in the punnet. I like to plant them a little bit deeper, all the way up to here. They get good root development and it stops them from falling over. And you can do this with pretty much any vegetable that you're planting from a punnet. Next, the broccoli. Broccoli need less space than cabbages. They need about 30 centimetres between the plants and the same between the rows. Well, that's it for the brassicas. Now on to another family, the alliums or onions. I'm not going to add any manure to this bed because too much food will give me a lot of leaf growth and not enough bulb development. But I am going to throw down some dolomite lime, about a handful every square metre. This will sweeten the soil, which they'll really love. This next bit can be very fiddly. Simply grab your thumb and forefinger and rip off a chunk of plants off the end of the punnet. And then once you get them here, you can divide each plant off individually, which will minimise root disturbance, which means that the plant will be a lot healthier. I'm planting red, white and brown onions as well as shallots, and I'm spacing them all about 10 centimetres apart. Once you've laid out your onions, simply backfill your furrow. and then you need to go through and straighten them all up. Now to my last allium crop, something a little bit different, the Egyptian walking onion. You break the clumps apart, and I plant each individual bulb 5 centimetres apart, and you use them in a very similar way to spring onions, leaves and bulbs. That's got my winter crop started. Good luck in your own garden, and I'll see you next time.
Well, that's Tino done. Now, when we planted the veggies here on the Verge, I also planted out a green manure. And look at it here around me. It's thriving. Now, I'll keep you posted, but in a couple of weeks, I'm going to get the kids to snip it down and it will start to feed this soil where we're going to plant some new veggies for the season ahead. Well, I can't believe it. Time has been mulched yet again. So here's what's coming up on next week's show. The fruit is a little bit... Colin will be showing us how we can all enjoy fruit trees, no matter how small a garden you have. Angus discovers a garden designed to maximise sustainability and biodiversity using native plants. And Jane meets up with a gardener in Melbourne who's just crazy about palms.
This is what people associate with palms, I think, generally, a rainforest kind of environment with a high canopy and lots of things growing at different levels underneath, and that's the kind of effect that I'm after.
Ava, Thea, Rachel and Rory have all come to check on progress of our herb maze. There'll be lots more next time. Hope you can join us then.
Happy Mother's Day! Bye!
Bye from all of us. Hi, Costa here. If you've missed an episode of Gardening Australia, catch up on ABC iView or go to the Gardening Australia website. It's too easy.